Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The High School Sports Beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We continue our look back at some of the stories we've covered over the last 9 years, beginning this week with a profile on Mercy Athletics and its close-knit community, especially with their neighbors at Legacy Senior Living Center.
There are a few more mutually enriching experiences than when the young and the not so young get together. That's what turned an otherwise ordinary day at Mercy High School into something special.
A lot of young people don't often have a chance to really interact with older generations aside maybe from grandparents or aunts and uncles. And then to meet students or alumni that graduated in the 1930s or 40s, I think it really ties it together, that whole circle of life thing of look at where they are now and we all started from the same place. It's just fantastic.
It was the brainchild of softball coach Chuck Scortino, a guy who gets it. His players were regular guests of the Legacy Senior Living Center that sits just outside the right field fence as part of the community involvement component of the athletic programs. The team returned the favor, inviting the seniors over and called it Legacy Day.
Oh, I think this is great. The girls are so polite and well-mannered and really nice. So I think it's a great thing. And I'm glad they invited us over today.
They asked me a lot about my college decisions. They kept it interesting. They wanted to know about my family a little bit and how I like Mercy and the softball program.
There was a lacrosse game at 11, a softball game at 1. Hot dogs, ice cream, and abundant sunshine.
They're so cute. We just were helping, like serving them hot dogs and all like chips and everything, and they just are so happy to be here. The one lady has on little like old-fashioned little baseball caps, and she was telling me it was I think her nieces that she found in her drawer, and that she was like, I had to wear it. I was definitely, because it just is so great and goes along with the whole theme of today and everything, so I just loved it.
This hat, I didn't know it was going to attract so much attention. This hat belonged to Patty Massarella, and when she graduated from East High School, she says, Aunt Millie, I want you to have my hat. And it's been sitting in my drawers. Today I opened the drawer and I said, oh, I think I'll wear Patty's hat. And here it is.
Mary Ryan was among the guests, a Mercy grad who still wears her class of 1939 ring. Mary would occasionally take the streetcar from home near East High to school back then. Just as often, she'd take the 40-minute walk.
Before you get into Mercy, there's some new little apartments there, and that was the end where the streetcar went there, turned around. And if you took the streetcar, you had to walk from there into Mercy. Mm-hmm. And not very many people took the streetcar because they didn't have 10 cents for the payment, you know.
So you'd pocket the dime?
Yeah, I pocketed the dime.
Ryan was recruited to throw the ceremonial first pitch.
Well, when they asked me to do it, I said, I can't. If I got to wind up or something, they said, no, you just take it. I'll say, I can throw it 3 feet.
It was a great day all around. Both of Mercy's teams won their games, and everyone was richer for the experience.
It's just an awesome opportunity for us to actually interact with them and see them. Last weekend we went over and looked through the whole building, which is absolutely gorgeous, and we got to meet some of them, and it's just nice to have another connection with them and have support in both ways and everything. So nice. I think it's awesome. I think it's really great.
What's it like meeting the girls, meeting the young people?
Well, it makes me bring back a lot of memories of when I was young and went to school. It was beautiful, beautiful life.
cheer for Mary.
Aiden Falk of Mercy went on to a 4-year career with Michigan softball, batting .328 in her career with 29 home runs. Well, coming up next, Matt Trabold joins us for the High School Notebook. We'll have that when the High School Sports Beat continues. Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to the High School Sports Beat. I am Dave Yates. It is time now for the High School Notebook, and once again, as always this week, we are joined by Matt Trabold. Matt, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, let's start off talking about something we don't see too often, and that's a guy who goes number 1 in a draft and then says, you know what, I'm not going to
go. Yeah, what a week it was for the best face-off specialist in really college lacrosse history, TD Ierlan, the Victor native. Monday night, he gets drafted by the New York Lizards, the first overall pick of the 2020 MLL lacrosse draft, the Major League Lacrosse draft there. Then the conversation turns into, will he also go first overall in the Premier Lacrosse League draft that's happening in a couple weeks? And then what league will he pick in the end to go with his pro ball? But less than 24 hours later, after he gets that pick by the Lizards, the news comes out along with an awesome Instagram post by TD that says, run it back. The news that the Victor native will surprisingly be able to circumvent the decree by Yale that 2020 seniors would not be allowed by the NCAA, or would not be allowed that NCAA-sanctioned extra year of eligibility, and he could actually play for Yale next year, which even very recently seemed inconceivable. This was able to happen because Yale has a time-honored 8-semester rule with their athletics, and he started his career at Albany, so that does not really apply to him. Now, unfortunately, for their team next year, a little bit, it does not help some of his teammates, like Jackson Morrow, Lucas Kotler, who ended up transferring to Denver, their 4-year Bulldogs. So they have that 8-semester rule applying to them. But Ierlan will be there next year for another crack at a title.
Oh, that's outstanding. Good for him. You know, it's nice to see he gets to go back and finish up at Yale. So let's talk a little bit about baseball. Let's talk about some of the guys from Section 5 who, before all this happened, it looked like things were on the right track, that's for sure.
Yeah, so going now, like you said a second ago, from a Section 5 product who flourished in the shortened D1 college season in lacrosse to some who did it in baseball. And starting off in the Big Ten, big conference there with the Newark product and current Maryland shortstop Ben Cowls. He started 50 games as a freshman last season and took the next step forward in production this past campaign, started all 15 games the Terps played in, and became a power hitter that team could lean on. For the 2020 season, he ranked 6th in the Big Ten in home runs and 11th in the conference in runs batted in. Another Rochesterian with impressive conference ranks. Binghamton junior outfielder and Webster Schrader alum Shane Marshall started all 12 games. The Bearcats got to play in before coronavirus concerns shut everything down. The end of the year ranked top 10 in a number of key hitting numbers for the America East Conference. That includes being 9th in the conference and a few big ones, batting average, runs, and runs batted in, and really just a great career going so far for him as a sophomore. He was the only underclassman on the 15-guy All-America East team. Then there is McQuaid grad and St. Bonaventure senior pitcher Donnie Moffitt, who has also written for Paul Gotham from this show over at Pick and Splinter. So he's a man of many hats. 18 strikeouts in 3 appearances this past season. That includes 2 starts. In the final posted conference stats for the Atlantic 10 for 2020, he ranked 6th in earned run average. And then one last guy I wanted to mention. He impressed as a freshman in 2020, the youngest guy of this group, Hofstra infielder and former Victor Blue Devil, Santino Rosso. He got the starting nod in 8 of the Pride's 12 games this past season and was top 40 in the CAA conference in batting average. That fearsome foursome showing how underrated Rochester baseball is.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, though, all these guys that are getting some serious props from this area when they go and they're getting some big-time playing time at big-time schools. So it's awesome to see. And, it's a good week anytime you can work Gotham into the show. So
absolutely.
You managed. Hey, Matt, great stuff as always. Thanks for joining us this week. And we will see you once again next week. All right, thanks a lot, bud.
Thank you.
And we are back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this. Coming up next, the Making the Grade nominee with Kyle O'Gara, and later we revisit a baseball game between Brockport and Athena. We'll have those highlights when the High School Sports Beat returns.
Welcome back, and thank you for watching the High School Sports Beat. I'm Kyle O'Gara.
Making the grade this week is Honeywell Falls Lima senior Anthony Noto. If you're a wrestler anywhere in New York State, chances are you've heard of Anthony Noto. Noto is a 2-time All-American and 4-time New York State champion. In addition to an incredible track record wrestling, Anthony volunteers his time to help coach youth wrestling clinics. In the classroom, Anthony has an 87% average and plans to major in sports management and criminology. After graduation, Anthony is committed to continue his education and wrestling career at North Carolina State. This week, Anthony Noto is making the grade.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them into mtg@rocksportsnow.com. Now here's Dave in the McArdle Section 5 Spotlight.
Well, thanks, Kyle. And by the way, congratulations on graduating from Brockport State. Great job. Well, here's how some of the athletes, teams, and coaches are handling quarantine in this week's Section 5 Spotlight, brought to you by McArdle's in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
McArdle's is open for takeout and delivery with DoorDash and Grubhub every day of the week. Visit our website, eatatmcardles.com.
Schrader girls basketball has a Jewel shootout workout for you to consider. James Weiss and his son Nate of Gates Chili demonstrate some goalie training techniques. The coaches of Newark teamed up to make a video to let all their students know they are not forgotten. If your team or school would like to share their quarantine activities, workouts, or challenges, let us know. Just tag @HighSchoolSportsBeat on social media. Well, coming up next on the Diamond with Brockport and Athena. We'll tell you that story when the High School Sports Beat continues.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We head back to April of 2013 for a contest between Brockport and Greece Athena, two baseball squads that were looking for a return to sectionals.
In the 9 years between 1999 and 2007, Greece Athena and Brockport combined to win 6 sectional baseball crowns. None since, while teams from Pittsford, Sutherland, and Victor dominated area play. But the West Side schools are back in contention, while flying a bit under the radar.
Oh, we love it. We love being the underdogs. It seems every time a team plays us that we're looked at as a little bit of an underdog, and we kind of like that role.
Athena came into its showdown at Brockport with a 7-1 record.
It might be too soon. It's a good test today. It's a good Brockport team, so I'm anxious to see how we're going to play today. Tommy's a good pitcher, probably the best one we've seen all year, so I'm anxious to see how we're going to do today.
Brockport's starting pitcher Tom Sadowski, who doubled as the Blue Devils quarterback during the football season last fall, struck out the first two Trojans and was one pitch away from striking out the side. Dan Curtis hung in there and delivered a base hit. Next up, Athena cleanup hitter Mike DiStefano, who hit the next pitch down the left field line for a double. Curtis coming all the way around from first to score the game's first run. He comes out, he strikes out the first two guys he faces, and you guys look like, well, first inning's not going to amount to anything. And the next thing you know, you've got the ball out there.
Just wanted to get us going. I wanted to look for the fastball first pitch. It was right there. I took it, ripped it hard, and I was just glad I could do my job and get the run in.
Athena with a 1-0 lead that stood into the Brockport third. Facing Frankie Carnevale, Kevin Smith led the inning off with a hit. Justin Keene hit one to third. Athena's Johnny Ricotta made a diving stop but had no play.
I just went off the palm of my glove, and I was just trying to keep it in the infield from the guy from scoring from second. And I got the job done, but it would have been nice if I made the play.
Yeah, and it did. It saved a run, I think.
It saved the run. There's a guy in second. The only thing is just keep it in the infield, and that's what I did.
Smith moved to third on a fielder's choice and came home on a sacrifice fly by Frank Marcera to tie the game through 3. Athena threatened in the 5th. Jack Vivinetto led off with a single. Botch play on a bunt helped the Trojans load the bases with 2 outs. Sadowski coaxed the dangerous Curtis to ground into his fielder's choice. The game stayed tied. In the bottom half of the inning, it was Brockport's turn. A walk and a sacrifice got DJ Mitchell to second, where Brandon Henshaw, the hockey star, got him home with a clutch 2-out hit. The Devils had a 2-1 lead.
Well, I was down 1-2, and the kid's got a good curveball. I saw him saw an outside pitch, I saw a curveball, and I just poked it to right center gap to score the run.
You feel pretty good having the lead at that point here?
Yeah, of course. I always feel good knowing that you're in the lead. But you never want to. It was 2-1. We never wanted to give up a single run. But it's tough.
That lead didn't last long. In the Athena 6th, the first 2 men reached. Colin Johnston's bunt was misplayed, this time with a throw going down the right field line. DiStefano scored to tie the game, but Ricotta, trying to score all the way from first, was cut down. Smith to Sadowski to Mike Myers, who applied the tag. That saved a run, but Vivinetto followed with a run-producing hit that put Athena in front, 3-2.
6th inning, I saw a fastball, 2-strike, had to go for it.
Are you usually a good 2-strike hitter?
Yeah, I just try not to strike out whatever I can do, and had to do it.
Brockport went out in order in the 6th. The 3rd out made on another nice play by Ricotta at 3rd for Athena. The Trojans tacked on a couple of insurance runs in the top of the 7th. Ricotta with a run-producing hit, scoring Ryan Prevost to make it 4-2. Johnston's hit brought home Carnevale, who was picked up on the mound by Joey Alfieri, who notched a 5-2 victory for 8-1 Athena at Brockport. I never sense any panic over here when you were behind 2-1.
Yeah, we have a lot of seniors, so there's really no need to panic. We got to play our game, and we did, and that's a very good Brockport team. So I wasn't surprised at all it was going to be close. So when they were up 2-1, we had 2 more bats left, and we just knew we had to make the most of them.
We want to play teams like this. These kind of teams, Athena, are going to point out, the flaws, the things you need to work on as a team. And we've got a couple things we need to work on, but we'll bounce back. This team responds real well when they find out the things we need to work on, and we'll just put it into practice now.
Athena's John Ricotta played for MCC and then went on to Ball State, where he led the team in homers his senior season. Brockport's Brandon Henshaw played for GCC, where he holds the career record for hits, and then 2 seasons with St. Bonaventure. We'd like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you back here next week. Take care and please be safe.